Welcome to the very first episode of What the Fuck World. Nowadays, thanks to the internet, we have access to all kind of things, good or bad, useful or completely useless. We've seen so much that sometimes it feels like nothing can surprise us anymore. And then, thanks to the internet, you find out there are people who identify as animals. Not human animals, but dogs, cats, whatever. There are people who buy other people's bathwater and even drink it. And apparently there are even billionaires who educate children on private islands. Who would have imagined that, right? But today we are not here to talk about any of that. We are here to talk about some unusual customs and traditions from around the world. And to start things off, we have baby throwing. Muslim and Hindu devotees from the village of Salopur in western India take part in a curious annual ceremony that involves throwing babies from the top of a tower. Parents drop their children from a height of about 15 meters, believing it will bring them good health. According to the organizers, there has never been a single accident in the 500 years history of this tradition, which is carried out under strict safety measures. 500 years without a single accident? I can imagine the people responsible for this research going up in one of the organizers and asking, has there ever been any accident? Did anyone ever get a cramp before the baby hit the cloth and couldn't catch them? Or anything like that? Naughty. Everything here is done 100% safety. Look at the sign. The way these people take care of their babies is way cooler than the rest of the world does. While we hold our babies like they might fall apart at any moment, these Indians are just like... But while in some parts of India, people are throwing their babies off tower, in Madagascar, others are digging up their dead just to dance with them. I'm pretty sure my late grandmother would have loved that. She never missed a party. She once broke her hip and somehow that still didn't stop her. When she was almost healed, still on crutches and a walker, she went to one last party and managed to break the exact same hip again. But this is insane. They literally dig people up, wrap them in cloth, spray them with perfume, and throw a full-on party. You can get 2 parties after you die. One before you're buried, and another later when they dig you up again. And while in Madagascar, they're digging up their dead to celebrate. In Tibet, people are burying their dead in the sky. In Tibet, there is a ritual called sky burial. When a person dies, their body remains for a 3 to 5 days, watched by monks and their prayers. Then, a ceremonial master dismembers the body and it's left to vultures. I mean, they do have their reasons, you know. In that region, burying bodies is difficult. Cremation is very expensive. And they believe the body is just a shell for the soul. Once you die, that body is basically meaningless. Which honestly, I kind of agree with, but I still find it pretty sad. Personally, I'd rather have my body thrown somewhere and set on fire than have someone dismember me and end up as bird food. If my life somehow ended there, I'd leave a will saying, you don't need 5 days, huh? You don't need to spend 5 days praying over my body. Take a break, all of you, including the ceremonial master, and to celebrate your time off, build a huge bonfire, like people do in Japan or Brazil. Just use my body as the firewood. Spend some time together, dancing, eating, whatever. Now, enough about death. Let's talk about being a man, a real man. Besides having the obvious male anatomy, do you know what someone born in the Satyre Mawet tribe has to go to prove that they are a real man? Yeah, exactly. Getting stung by ants. There is a species of ant known as the bullet ant. I have read that the pain of its sting is comparable to being shot, which is oddly specific. Right? I mean, I can only imagine how they came to that conclusion. They probably find someone that experienced both. Getting stung by the ant and then getting shot, or getting shot and then getting stung by the ant. So if the stings of just one of these ants feels like getting shot, you do think getting stung once would be enough to prove that you're a real man in the tribe, right? Well, not exactly. They actually created a kind of glove where they places dozens of these ants inside. So the only thing the ants can do is sting the inside of the glove. Right there on someone's hand is going to be. Once the gloves are ready, they are placed on your hands and you get stung by all those ants on both hands for about 50 minutes. And that's it, right? Yeah, that's just the end of round 1, because over the next 24 hours, you keep going through the same things in cycles. You put the gloves on, get stung for 15 minutes, then take them off. After a short break, you put them back on for another 50 minutes, and take them off again. And this cycle only stops after the full 24 hours of the ritual. So starting around 8 years old, these boys have to go through this ritual at least 20 times throughout their lives. I do wonder how they keep track those 15 minutes though. And I can totally imagine some of these kids asking the older ones, does it hurt a lot? And they are like, nah, it's not that bad. Don't worry. But deep down they're thinking, I went through that pain. Now it's your turn to feel it. The real pain. In that tribal, I wouldn't qualify as a man or anything. Maybe they do just let me be the firewood for the bonfire. Once I'm gone, of course. Now, I've got a question for you. And I need you to be honest because I might be able to help you. Is there someone you always wanted to fight without ruining the friendship? You know, that friend who sometimes does unbelievably annoying things? Or it doesn't even have to be a friend, just someone you'd like to throw hands with, but legally, without too many risks. Where I'm from, we call that 5 minutes without losing the friendship. It's when you challenge someone to fight for 5 minutes and after that everything goes back to normal. Well, depending on your answer, you might want to be partying something called Takanakui, which takes place in Peru. Takanakui is a traditional Andean cultural celebration held everywhere on December 25th in the provinces of Chambivicos and Antabamba in Peru, where people settle personal and community conflicts through physical fights. The idea is to end the year in peace, allowing everyone to start fresh without negative energy or grudges. This is amazing. This is incredible. This is insane. This can't be real. Of course, no one is forced to take part. But imagine the psychological pressure in a situation like this. You're a chill person. You've got no problem with anyone. Your whole year was peaceful. And then Takanakui comes around. And suddenly someone wants to fight you. Maybe you annoyed them somehow. Or maybe they just don't like your face even though you did nothing. And you're like, nope, I'm good. I don't want to fight anyone. And now you've basically ruined that person's end of the year. Because they've been waiting all this time to throw hands with you. And not just then, everyone might judge you for backing out. Did you hear? What? People wanted him to take part in Takanakui, and he didn't. He doesn't care about the well-being of our community. That kind of thing could even end up giving you more enemies. That's rough. As we all know, there are many different cultures around the world, and if you thought the Sateremawe tribe were the only ones with an intense ritual to prove their man, you were wrong. The Hamar tribe also has its own rite of passage. Since the first tribe we talked about requires their men to endure hours of bullet and stings, pain that said to feel like getting shot. Can you imagine what Hamar tribe does? Bull jumping. Getting blasted with bullet and stings for 24 hours. Any kid can go through that. But now, can a kid jump over a line of 10 bulls? No. It's a fundamental rite of passage in the Omo Valley. Young men run across the backs of 7 to 10 castrated bulls lined up together 4 times in a row. If you manage to take it across all those animals, all 4 times without falling, congratulations, you've entered adulthood. What's waiting for you? Woman, cattle, children. But if you fail, it's total humiliation in front of the entire tribe. Honestly, I think I could handle the pain of getting stung by bullet ants for 24 hours, but embarrassing myself in front of the whole tribe? No way. You might be thinking, so they just get together, throw a party, and the boys jump over some bulls to become a man? And that's where you're wrong, my dear viewer. Did you really think there wouldn't be pain and suffering involved in a ritual like this? How naive. But in this specific ritual, all the pain and suffering fall on the woman. While the boys are jumping the bulls, the women have to sing and dance. And that's when you start wondering again. Wait, where's the pain? Well, here's the pain. They are ripped until they bleed. And honestly, I'd rather be a man in the other tribe than be a woman in this one. And now, the final ritual of this video. The one that actually inspired me to make it. Nagho. Nagho is a traditional land diving ritual performed on Pentecost Island in Vanuatu. And it's considered the origin of modern bungee jumping. A man jumps from wooden tower, sometimes up to 30 meters high, with vines tied to their ankles, all to ensure a good yam harvest and to celebrate masculinity. Sounds pretty safe, right? I mean, okay, you're jumping from a really high place tied only with vines, which aren't exactly flexible, but the biggest risk would be drowning, right? So as long as you know how to swim, you're fine. But let me ask you something. Can you swim on land? Because yeah, they jump from about 30 meters high, tied only by vines, straight toward the ground. It's your face versus the ground. Man, how do you even deal with that? And this is one of the reasons I love the internet. Without it, I've never even imagined something like this existed in the world. Honestly, I probably wouldn't have believed it if someone told me. But now, it's your turn. What makes you think, man, I love the internet? Drop it in the comments. I'm curious to know. Like, subscribe, and I see you in the next one.